Bluestone investment thesis, it was broadly on three major trend lines, right? One is jewelry is one of the largest consumption category in the country. Food, grocery, if of course the largest, and then jewelry is the second largest, even above apparel, right? So just think about it. India consumes more jewelry than apparel, right? As a consumption category. Uh, the second is basically that the movement from unorganized to organized, right? So back in 2014, there were hardly any brands, right? Everybody was used to buy from the local jeweler. So the movement of unorganized to organized was the second big trend line. And the third big trend line they were playing on was the online shopping, right? I think probably definitely first two trend lines played out. It was the third trend line which was a challenge, right? So it took a company and everybody some time to come to an answer that, look, ultimately somebody is trying to buy a 50,000, 1 lakh rupee jewelry, and online only may not be the most efficient way to sell this, basically, right? And then the company pivoted to omni-channel, and after that it's been an exponential ride from there, right? So I think, and that learning probably came to multiple companies. It's not just Bluestone, right? Think about Lenskart or First Cry, right? Many of the companies did extremely well after they pivoted to omni-channel models, right? And they proved also that omni-channel works in India, right? So where discovery can happen online, but the shopping can happen offline, basically, right? So definitely it's going to be a very exciting story for omni-channels brands in India over the next few years. First Cry is already public, Lenskart is going to go public soon, and Bluestone. So that's amazing.
And Darshit, when you say omni-channel has worked, is there a double click here that it works for categories where experience like matters much more, AOV is higher, like
Yes.
in case of jewelry, or in case of lenses also, spectacles, it's difficult. While I know Lenskart has put out this technology wherein you can try that 3D visualization, but still, getting a feel, you're going to like not replace either jewelry or spectacles every year or so. So better go out, try. I remember अभी तो आजकल लोग 100-day guarantee देते हैं on spectacles also.
Yeah.
That 100-day replacement. But is there would you say omni-channel works for these kind of categories where like high consideration?
Yes.
And then you want to have experience, you will not buy them very frequently because AOV is higher. उन categories के लिए ज़्यादा relevant है as compared to, let's say, what you were saying, apparel or jewelry, which is, let's say, daily jewelry, which is less than 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, those kind of segments as well?
I think if you think about where the online penetration has happened, we all agree that electronics and mobile accessories is probably it's a 35-40% online penetration, right? Because the product is standard. iPhone is an iPhone. I'm still going to get an iPhone, right? It has not happened even with apparel. Even if I want to buy a 500 rupee t-shirt, it has not happened to an extent one would have liked. Apparel is still like probably not more than 8-10% online penetration in the country, right? And it's also because people want to kind of try out the product before they buy these products, right? So like a jewelry or a apparel or any of this product. In fact, if you think about the original promise, let's take a jewelry as an example. The original promise was very exciting if you think about it, that when you walk into the store, you are limited by the number of designs you can see is limited by the shelf space in that store, right? In an online world, you can actually offer an unlimited catalog because you're not keeping any inventory, right? It's just a design. Once you order, then they'll make it and they'll send it across, right? So in a way, it was a promise was there, right? For an online as a model, theoretically speaking, right? But somehow it didn't play out that well, right? So if you originally go back to the idea of that was same, or even for furniture or that you can unlimited design, unlimited catalog. When you walk into the store, you can only see 5 sofas, but on online, you can probably see unlimited number of sofas, right? So I think that was the original idea, but it seems like Indian consumers like to see and feel the product before they make such a high value purchase.
But Darshit, haven't we seen in China also this progression of penetration in e-commerce starts with electronics because it's standardized, and then moves to beauty, which we are seeing now.
Yeah.
At least beauty is starting to explode online. And then the third one is fashion, which I am at least seeing some early signs.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one is home and decor.
Yeah.
Right. It's playing out the same way in India also. You take like 3-year buckets, and I'm sure we'll see those things starting to come up.
Actually, yeah, it's a generation thing also, right? So for us as a generation, it was about moving our offline behavior to online, right? So that was a much harder. But if I think 15 years from now, when there is the consumption clan is going to be a generation who is just born in the world of online,
Yeah.
who hasn't really seen the concept of walking into the store, I'm sure the penetration will be way, way higher, basically, right? So,
Yeah.
and
And
by
for
the
our
trend,
kids, they don't even think about that. For shopping, you have to go offline.
yeah, exactly,
They look
exactly.
at, ये तो e-commerce पे खरीद सकते हैं.
Yeah, and especially with quick commerce, it's now like everything can be available to you within few minutes, right? So I think,
Yeah, I was joking with one of my cousins. He was there over the Rakhi weekend, and every like 5-10 minutes he was opening the Blinkit app. I was saying कि लोग Instagram open करते थे to time pass. तो Blinkit open कर रहा है कि क्या order कर लूं? What is this? That every hour I see you on Blinkit कि कुछ तो order कर लो.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true. But if I think about these categories are massive, right? Furniture, blue jewelry, these are anywhere between 50 to 70 billion dollar categories in the country, and the organized is just a drop in the bucket in across, right? Across the board, right? Even Tanishq is somewhere around 55,000 crore top line business, right? So that's roughly what
Eight,
seven
9 billion.
7 billion roughly, right? So
Yeah, 7.
still it's not the largest player. It's not like organized as a massive market share, right? So I think there's a big headroom for people to build the brands in this category. So I'm sure Carrot Lane, Bluestone, they'll have a long runway ahead of themselves to be able to grow from here, basically, right? And that is what is the most exciting part, that it's not the companies where the online market is tapped out, right? You will continue see the compounding over next 10 years also you can see on some of these companies, basically. Yeah.
But if I look at the change from gold to diamond and online to offline, like we were looking at the gross margins, right? Most of the jewelry players today who are listed are largely gold players and therefore operate between 14 to 18% gross margin, because gold may you can't, I mean, you have to keep the gold rates, you display what the gold rates are, and you can maybe make something in making charges and therefore the gross margin is limited. But precious stones and diamonds, obviously your ability to charge a premium is a little different, if you can put it that way. So one is the gross margin differentiation. And any view as to why these guys went more the diamond way? What was their realization in gold? I remember online to offline was very clear that यार उतना अभी penetration आ नहीं रहा है online में, we should go offline. And I think Carrot Lane did this first, right? When they
Yes.
realized
Got
this,
acquired by Tata.
and then obviously Titan showed the way and said, boss, even for Carrot Lane, which is at a different price segment than Tanishq, like it's very funny. You send the data, right, where average yearly Bluestone store does about 8 crores, and that sounds so awesome, right? कि एक दुकान है जो साल का 8 crore कर रही है करके, at an average. There is apparently a Tanishq store in South Delhi that does $100 million, 800
Yeah.
crores in a year. एक store, Chirag, one store.
Wow.
800 crores एक store करते हैं उसका. Of course, it's an aberration, but their average is obviously much higher, right? So there is a
Yeah.
different premiumness, if I can call it, to a Tanishq brand, and Carrot Lane sort of plugged some of that, if I could say, the lower end, or what we can call fast fashion in jewelry, right? Where people wanted something for lighter occasions or more frequent occasions. कि ऐसा नहीं कि बहुत ही एक प्रीमियम ओकेजन है 10 साल में एक बार तो मैं तनिष्क से खरीदूंगी, maybe I'll buy something from Carrot Lane because this occasion comes almost once every 6 months, right? Different birthday parties, kitty parties, whatever it is. So it made sense for Titan to plug and say कि instead of building a brand for the value segment, I'll buy a brand and then scale that. And of course, that would be something that Bluestone would have seen and said, okay, I am also a value/convenience brand, and therefore I should go offline. And was the pivot from gold to precious stones also because this Carrot Lane did it, or was there some other thought process in your
No, I think so. They were always heavy on diamond, right? So I think from day one they were always heavy on diamond, also
Okay.
because of the positioning of the company, right? So let's think about the consumer psyche, right? So if I just say gold, whosoever is buying gold today, pure gold, right, is buying this as a store of value because it's an appreciating asset. I am putting 1 lakh today. I know that after 5 years, if I go back in the market and sell, at least it would have compounded by whatever, let's say 10%, right? And I can go and sell. The diamond on the other hand, one is, first of all, there is a retailer margin of say 30%, for example. So if I buy a diamond today from a Tanishq store, if I sell back to Tanishq, they'll give me 100% of the value. But if I go and sell it to somebody else, I'm already getting 70% of the value because Tanishq already has kept a 30% margin on the diamond, basically, right?
Interesting.
So the person who is buying the diamond is not buying that as and on the top of the diamond as a this diamond has depreciated over last 5 years. If you look at his recent history, diamond has actually depreciated in value, right? So now, if I think from a consumer psyche of who is buying gold versus who is buying diamond is very, very different, right? If you think about it, the gold is probably your and my mother's generation who see that as a store of value, where diamond is more of a luxury and a fashion statement, right? And that's where the positioning is very different. Kalyani's the positioning is, if you think about traditional jewelers, even like Kalyani is like, everything is about wedding jewelry or the traditional buyers who want to buy very gold heavy jewelry, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Tanishq is somewhere in the middle, but still more towards gold. And CaratLane and Bluestone took a position that I want to serve today's new generation woman who wants to buy the jewelry as a fashion and not as a store of value के इतना बड़ा हार ले लिया और वो लॉकर में पड़ा है basically, right? That, and they won't wear that. Like the today's woman is not going to wear that heavy necklace, right? So within jewelry market, they took a very different positioning, and hence there was a choice of being diamond focused and not just the gold heavy jewelry, right? Because of the segment they are going after, right? If Kalyan, even if they want to sell a diamond jewelry, it's very hard for them because of the segment they are going after as a consumer segment. Yeah.
Very interesting.